This doctor buys this card from the guy and he tells him, okay, send me the money, I'll have the card delivered, I'm taking care of the shipping. Meanwhile, he calls me and bargains on 2 watches with us for $54,000. He sends $54,000, but the wire directions he gets on mine, not the guy's. The doctor calls us. He's like, oh, you know, I just realized I sent you guys money for a BMW. It's like, we're a watch business. Because I already knew. It didn't dawn on you that this is fucking fraud.
Okay, guys, got a big watch expert here today. Roman, someone I've watched for years now. Glad to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, pleasure meeting you as well.
Yeah, we've been trying to set this up for a while, and you got 2 watches on today.
Yeah, I come double wristing anytime I come talk about watches or, you know, represent watches, if you will.
Let's go. 2 Pateks, right?
Yep.
Could you explain each one?
So I figured, okay, what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear when I come to see you? And I said to myself, all right, the watch industry has become a lot about flex, right? It's no secret. It always has been a flex, but not to an extent what it is now. We saw markets shift tremendously during COVID, where you saw rising prices of all these watches. Everybody started screaming, oh, watch index. 20 years I've been saying watches are not an investment, they're expensive toys. But unfortunately, due to recent events, you've seen prices climb through the roof. And where are they climbing? Rolex, Patek, Audemars Piguet, Richard Mille, right? Your top brands. And people have started concerning themselves with 2 things. Number one, the flex aspect, which is probably about 80% of the reason people buy watches today. And the second thing is the dollar sign. Hey, where is this watch going to be in terms of holding value? I'm buying expensive toys. Yeah, during COVID, you paid $300,000 for a G-Wagon. Today, you're buying that same G-Wagon for $120,000.
Right.
But watches didn't take that big of a dip when that happens. So there is some truth to the investment aspect of it. So I brought a 5980, one of the latest models, which is the jean version, right? The Nautilus, everybody's familiar with it. 1976, Genta designed it. It was originally supposed to be Piaget, actually. Piaget turned Genta down. They're probably still biting their elbows over that. But he made this, and this watch has never looked back. Whether it's a steel version, whether it's a chronograph, whether it's a dual time, this happens to be a chronograph. I brought the latest one just because I happen to physically like the watch. It's very attractive. And then on the other wrist, I brought another Patek, and this trades around $185,000 on the market today, right? If the Patek on my other wrist, which people will be like, what the hell is that? Doesn't really look all that cool, not really a flex. You would have to pay an additional $1 million to own this. Because this is a 1518. This watch made back in early 40s. 1941 is when they came out with it. It is the first perpetual calendar chronograph ever made, serially produced in a watch outside of a pocket watch by Patek Philippe. So different kind of flex, right? This is for those that know, and this is for those that everybody knows.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I decided to go with the 2, Patek Philippe being the Rolls Royce of all watches, if you will. Rolex is still king in terms of popularity and production and sales, but Patek Philippe is sort of that.
How many of those exist? The one that's
so they made a total of 281 of these starting in 1941, but they did about 220 of those were done in yellow gold, which is what you see here. There were some rose golds, and there's only 4 known stainless steel. Wow. I looked at one in Geneva actually a month ago when I was there for Watches and Wonder. The guy was asking $20 million for it, and he'll get it. This watch is a bit rare out of the 220 made in yellow because they break into 2 versions because they made them for 15 years. The early 40s edition actually said Patek Philippe & Co. on the dial, and it's known as the long dial, where later they started producing without the Co. because it was too long. So out of the 220 yellow, you probably figure 75% of them survived altogether. Take off another 25% of the watches that are mangled, the dials are messed up, have been changed out. These, in reality, there's probably fewer than 20 of these in the world that exist in good condition.
That's nuts. Is 20 mil the most you've heard of for a watch?
So the current record for Patek Philippe 1518 is about $11 million for the stainless steel. The one that I saw was a stainless steel that was born on a stainless steel bracelet. Yeah, the guy's asking $20 million. I think he'll get in the realm of $17 million for that watch. He's not putting it through auctions. If he did, it would be way over the last result, but that's the record holder today.
You mentioned the top 4 brands earlier. Do you ever see a 5th watch brand?
There are plenty. Again, it depends on what level you're playing on, right? I mean, if you look at strictly from a sales perspective, you have Rolex, that's number 1, and it's number 1 by far in terms of sales. It actually, the next 4 brands in a row, Rolex does collectively what the number 2, 3, and 4 together. 2 and 3 has always been between Omega and Cartier. Cartier taking the cake last year. They've been kind of going back and forth. And mind you, Omega was always number 1 until Rolex took over and never looked back in the 70s, right? It took Rolex a while to catch up to Omega. Omega is also older, right? So you have Rolex, Omega, Cartier, and then you have the big majors. But again, if you're talking strictly sales, you're not eating Rolex. They make 1 million watches a year. They had 10 billion in revenue a year ago, right?
Jeez.
And then the next, again, and that was bigger than the following three. But popularity-wise, right, what people are going for is you're going to see, obviously, Rolex, Cartier, Omega. You're going to see Audemars Piguet, again, different price level, right? Now, Audemars Piguet, you're entering an era where you're spending $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, where with Omega and Rolex, you can still get away under 10. And then, you have the ultimate Playbill watches, which is Richard Mille. And as much as people look at them as the ultimate flex watch, which is what they are, they're still a pretty big horological powerhouse. If you understand horology and mechanics of those watches, they're pretty amazing, along with use of materials. And then you have a slew of other brands that are out there. It's just a question of taste. But if you ask 10 guys that are into watches what watches they're going to reach for within a reasonable budget, those are the brands they're going to pick usually today.
You made a video about Hublot, which is one of the most controversial brands, right?
So thanks to my buddy Nico, it's actually the brand is not as bad as it is. I actually had to sit down with the new CEO, Julian, who was at Zenith, and he did wonders for Zenith. He elevated that brand tremendously. But I can't wait to see what he's going to do for Hublot. You have to understand Hublot from my perspective. When I started in the industry 22 years ago now, Hublot just celebrated this year their 20th anniversary of the Big Bang. The Big Bang was that 20 years ago. It was a Big Bang. It was probably the number one selling watch. It came into the market at the time where bigger was better. And mind you, look, this watch is tiny, right? Yeah. So we were sitting at that 36, 38, 40 millimeters being a huge watch. All of a sudden, they came out with these beautiful looking watches, well designed at 44 millimeters. And the name too, Big Bang. It was probably the number one selling brand for at least 3-4 years.
Damn.
And it was because of the Big Bang. They never changed anything, right? They kept with the Big Bang DNA, and they're going to continue doing it, just changing up materials, improving on the movements. Now, the gripe that people had at the time was like, okay, well, you're charging X. You're charging 20 grand for a movement that you can find in a $2,000 watch. Well, so did the rest of the industry at the time. That was
the Tri-Light from Tariffs is no joke. Medical grade red and near infrared light with 3 frequencies per light, deep healing, real results, and totally portable. It's legit. Photo biomodulation tech in a flexible on-body panel. This is the Tri-Light from Tariffs, and it's next level red light therapy. It's got 118 high-powered polychromatic lights, each delivering 3 healing frequencies, red and near infrared, from 580 to 980 nanometers. It's sleek, portable, and honestly, I don't go anywhere without it.
The trade, right? In-house movements weren't really a thing. Everybody was buying movements off the shelves from factories in Switzerland and putting them in their watches. Patek did it just as well. In fact, Patek, for the longest time, didn't have their own chronograph. They used Lemania, and so did 5 other brands. It wasn't a German brand, Langenzone. They made a watch, their own in-house chronograph. That's when everybody said, okay, I guess we got to start making our own kind of thing.
I'm impressed with the history, of these watch companies.
This is my stuff. This is what I love. So for me, it's always been, I'm a walking encyclopedia, as they say. As I get older, I tend to forget dates and things of that nature, or maybe some names because I suck at names.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Hublot today, I would say, is Hublot is the number 14 most popular brand in the world today. And mind you, we're talking about thousands of brands. So being number 14 is huge. So regardless of what everybody talks about, Hublot is still very much on top. Production numbers, I think they're top 50 in terms of how many they produce per year. So they're a really strong brand till this day, regardless of popular, I guess, belief on the internet. But then for those that hate on that brand, for the most part, probably can't even afford it.
Right.
And it's still my top 10 sellers today.
Yeah. I noticed a lot of haters with these big brands like Rolex. They can't get them at retail prices, so they hate on that, right? It's
the oldest trick in the book of supply and demand. I've seen this back leading up to the 2008 crisis that we had. Whenever you have the economy at the very top, is bound to go back down. But the best part about it is that, so prior to the hype, if you had specific Rolexes selling, let's say, 10 to 20% off retail, then they doubled in price. Well, yeah, they did come back down when we had a correction 2 years ago, but they didn't come back down to 20 off. They came back down to 1.5x retail. Why? Because the secondary is a huge market. I think it was Bloomberg, either Bloomberg or Robbery Report, that were talking about how by 2026, the secondary market is going to catch on to the primary market, where the primary watch market today is about 60 billion, let's say. Well, it's bullshit, because the secondary market has long surpassed the primary market.
Really?
Of course. You don't have the tangible data. If I open up my phone and I show you my WhatsApp, I'm part of this million dealer groups I get added to every single day. There's millions and millions of dollars that are traded every single day, but who has access to that data? Nobody does.
Right? Wow. So the secondary market surpassed.
Of course, because think about it. There's only so many new watches that are produced every year, and how many get left over in the secondary. the trade show we're at today, you walk into that room, there's $1 billion in watches in that room.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and it's traded all day. Like we did about $1 million in business yesterday.
Holy
just at the
crap.
show alone. So
What's your strategy with these trade shows?
the strategy is actually, I gotten away from the B2B stuff, to be honest with you. We used to be huge into B2B. And that was up until right before COVID, where I said, look, I looked at my books and I said, I got 30 million in receivables. I wrote out about $2 million of bad debt expense because it comes with the territory B2B. And yes, I'm a $100 million plus company, but is it a product that's sellable? It's not. So I said, we're switching back to B2C heavily because we're about 85 B2B and 50% B2C. So right before COVID, I said, all right, I made a plan for 2 years. I would gradually will switch over because when people owe you $30 million, you can't just abruptly cut them off. You kind of like got to collect what you're owed, kind of thing. So COVID happened, and it literally in an instant, we were able to switch. It helped a lot because of the craze.
Right.
And so now we're B2C. Did the revenue go down over the highest years of COVID? Of course it did. When an average Pepsi GMT is trading at $28,000 a day, said 18, your revenue will suffer. Our numbers went up in terms of units. Margins stayed the same, but the revenue did go down. And we went from like 136 to like 111 in revenue, which was expected.
Yeah.
But now, we have a product that's sellable, that's evaluatable, that has a value. And the plan is just to, to your original question, trade shows is a good way to buy for us. It's also a good way to get rid of aging inventory. And listen, you also make money.
Yeah.
It's not, we also have a jewelry aspect of our business, which is still B2B only. That's where really we're going to make most of our money while we're in Vegas.
So your goal is to sell this thing one day, though? You want to exit?
Yeah. And I have a pretty good plan. In fact, I almost did it during COVID, but I felt that we weren't quite there. We did get an evaluation of, again, some of the guys I work with, some big names in the industry, they want to commit us. Oh, we're going to get you 250. Realistically, at the time, I think I would have gotten maybe 110, around 100, right? And I felt that there's still a few more products that are missing within the industry that we can launch, and we're working on launching, especially with AI now being a thing, where the evaluation can be a lot higher.
Wow. 9-figure business. Well done, man. How many years?
So I started this out of my basement. My business is almost as old as my son. My wife was
Holy crap.
Right? My son's going to be 22, so my business is a little bit over 22 years old.
Wow. You teaching him the ropes right now? Is he part of the company?
No. So my son has got a bit of an entrepreneur bug himself. He was 14. And the rule of my house is everybody gets a job when they turn 15. I have 3 kids. I feel that everybody should do that. It teaches kids responsibility. It teaches them the value of $1. It doesn't matter how much money dad or mom have. Now, my kids do go to the best school. They go to private schools. And they have a good roof over their head. And they get whatever they need as far as necessities are concerned. But at the same token, we don't spoil them and we make them get a job. So my son is like, Dad, I'm about to be 15. I don't know about a job. I want a business. I said, well, what do you want to do? And he was huge into sneaker and streetwear culture.
Yeah.
Like, I want to buy and sell sneakers. I got $2,000. I'm going to use them. I'm going to buy some Supreme stuff. At the time, it was shit. I mean, it's still cool, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to buy and sell sneakers. All right, son, if you want to do this as a real business, we're going to set it up. I'm going to show you. You're going to give me a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, an inventory statement. He's like, huh? He's like 14 years old. I'm like, so I explained it to him, put it all in Excel. And he's like, Dad, well, why do I need all that? I said, you'll thank me in a year. So first year, 2000, at the end of the year, his balance sheet showed 24,000.
Wow.
The following year, it went from 24,000 to 127. His year in high school, he did $1 million in business. And when he went to apply for colleges, he submitted his tax returns rather than an essay.
Yeah, I love that.
The kid got into Northeastern Business School, Babson, Indiana, was a backup, University of Miami. He applied to 6 schools. He got into all of them, ultimately chose University of Miami. I don't blame him. I did a tour with him, and I'm just like...
Party school.
And my wife was like, stop looking around. I said, all these girls are legal. At least I can look at them, right? So it's, and he was there. Now he's in Miami. He just opened up his 3rd store. They're doing about $6 million in revenue.
Damn.
This year, last year was just under 6. I'm sorry, last year was just under 5, like 4.9. This year, I think they're on track to do about 6 and change. He's in the right place. All the influencers, who's anybody's are in his stores. Aiden Ross, every other day he flips a coin with him for like $5,000
Wow.
purchases. And some of the stuff he sells, he just sold a pair of Chrome Heart jeans for $18,000. I'm like, for what? Like it's. But then again, he goes and he's like, Dad, you sell $1 million watches. How is this I said, I get it, but that's jeans. Like, you wear them out.
I wouldn't even know if jeans were expensive if I saw someone wearing them.
You know, but that's, so he's sort of on that. And then now he's on track to do the same. I told him, I said, look, you build a brand. Shout out.
I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the show a lot with the algorithm. Thank you.
To Hype Miami. You build a brand. You build a product that's sellable, you exit, and you move on. And that's really the plan for him.
That's cool.
And he understands that he's smart enough to get it too.
A lot of similarities with your business. I'm sure he picked up on some stuff.
Very much a lot of similarities. I actually made him come to my job when he was like 6.
Bring your child to work day?
Yeah, no, but I would bring him to work as many times as I could. I'd give him an old auction catalog when he was 6, and I said, okay, here's the result list. Go into the catalog and write out the numbers. When you're 6 years old and you're writing out numbers like 135,000 and change, he's like, huh, Dad? I don't get it. I'm like, don't worry, just write.
Yeah, that's the way to teach these days,
exactly.
Right?
That's the only way to do it.
Love that. So this watch market, I know it's taken a lot of dips over the years. Where's it at right now? I haven't been.
So it took one dip, right? So you had your COVID craze where everything went ridiculous, but it wasn't just watches. Like I said, a G-Wagon was $300,000, right? And along with anything else, clothing, certain purses, certain brands, everything just went, luxury went crazy. And then 2 years ago, it took a dip, as it should have. What goes up has got to come down. It's not sustainable, if you will, right? And why did it happen? You got all this influx of money. Government helped, right? People that got $1,200, where did that ultimately end up? It all rises to the top, right?
Yeah.
I've seen people in line at Louis Vuitton that had no business being at Louis Vuitton, right? And that's the nature of a human being. People buy expensive things. This is what they want. So when all that money came into the market, then of course the rise of online shopping because of lockdowns, and this is a global thing. At the time, you also had the Asian market, which was huge, right? Their market was doing well, not so much right now. But you had all of this demand on the market, and rightfully so, prices started going up. The secondary market jumped in really, really quickly because the primary market could not provide enough goods, and hence we had the rise. And then after a while, when it was too polluted and prices just got ridiculous, it was, I want to say 4 months before it went down, Adrian, who's head of procurement at my company and also the sales manager, has been with me since he was 17 years old. He comes to my office, Roman, we're done, we're selling off all the hot stuff. Now, just to put it in perspective, a Rolex Daytona, the most popular, stainless steel Rolex Daytona, the most popular watch in the world, the most recognizable, right? That's a watch that retails for $16,000. At the peak, that watch was selling on the secondary for $55,000 B2B. So the retail clients were paying $60,000. Today, that watch trades at around half that. It's still almost double retail, but it's trading at half that. And that was the story. For the more popular something was, the bigger hit it took. But still, it came down to where it's at least 1.5x pre-COVID prices, right? So when that happens, this is when we know that, okay, it doesn't make sense. A G-Wagon that retails for $150,000 does not make sense at $500,000. You can equate the same to watches. So Agent said, we're selling off everything that's hot. We can sell it at a loss. We can sell it at a cost. It doesn't matter. Let's offload about 25% of our inventory, which was the hot stuff, as you said, and it's coming.
Wow.
And that was May. At about July, August, the B2B market started to catch on because people were afraid to trade stuff back and forth because we're just trading amongst each other. Everybody's making money, but the watch is not on the wrist. It's a problem. And by about September, the retail public understood that things are coming down right now and trying to cash out as fast as possible. What happens? The market comes down. It stabilized about, I would say, a year ago at this point, maybe 9 months to a year ago. Now the prices have stabilized. This is where they are, where now the demand meets the current price.
Right.
This is where we are now. We're in a stable market, which is the market I prefer. Granted, I make more money, or smart people make more money on a down market, right? And we did take advantage of that because now you're able to buy things anticipating a further decrease. So you're buying a lot cheaper, but yet still selling at the current market price.
Right.
But for the most part, now we're back and stable, and it's not easy, but the watch industry has never been easy. And a lot of the competition. Some ended up in a federal penitentiary. Some ended up just out of business, right? Because it's very easy to get behind in my business, right?
Yeah.
You know, because my business is based on trust and word. Me and you go to 47th Street or any of the big, go walk the trade show with me today. I'll put $10 million in my bag. I won't sign a single piece of paper just on a handshake. That's our business.
Old school.
Yeah, it's very old school. And when I say old school, you saw some of the invoices these people hand you out. It's like, no, you go to Staples and you buy like a generic invoice book. Like, that's what some of the shit these dealers have. And they've been in business for 30 years. Very, very old school, right? Very handshake-based. So you had a lot of people that got hurt, a lot of people that exited, a lot of people also jumped in. Oh, this looks easy. My AD can give me a couple of Rolexes. I can flip them and make $5,000. All of a sudden, they become a watch dealer and they lease a Lambo. And next thing you know, they get behind because they can't sustain the lifestyle. But we've seen this before. 08 was a perfect example for us. And so we came in cash heavy because we knew there was going to be buying opportunities. So cash was king. Cash does tend to deplete because post a hot market like this, what you end up with is a lot of trading. So now cash flow becomes a problem. Yeah. On paper, you're making good money, but then the cash is not flowing as it used to.
You said earlier you had 30 mil out, so people owed you.
That was when I was doing B2B. 28.8 million was the biggest I've ever had in receivables.
Jeez.
But you leverage that against payables, right? Because you have your own payables because you get credits in certain places as well. But if you want to do big business, that's usually what you're looking at. You become more of a bank rather than a watch dealer. So if you're a small dealer and you can come to Roman and buy $250, $1 million and get 30, 60, 90, let's say, with 30 days credit, now you're able to work with my money. You'll usually end up paying me a little bit more, but mathematically, if you did the math, money on money, it makes sense for both parties.
Yeah.
I still have a buddy of mine who's in that business. He does about $250 a year and he's straight up a bank.
Holy crap.
And it's like you look at his pricing, it's like, yeah, I can get out there and buy it 5 to 10% cheaper. But then this guy, I can pay him in 30 days. So that 5% all of a sudden starts to make sense. It allows you to grow. That's how my business grew. I was in banking.
Oh, you were in banking before this?
I was on banking on the IT side. I was an electrical engineer, computer science guy. And guy I used to buy watches from in the gray market from his house came and was like, oh, all this computer stuff. It's a little bit more complex than that. But okay, I managed their global payment system, which processed 42 billion a month.
Jeez.
So 20 million in hardware across 3 data centers across the world, like the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, I guess you can say the computers, right? So it's like, oh, this eBay thing is coming. I think we can sell watches online. And I'm like, who the fuck's going to buy $10,000 watches online? It was my wife that said, seems like a good idea. So I started it part-time for 3 years. And that's how LB was born.
Wow.
So
when it comes to selling online versus in person, how has the percentage changed over the years from when you first started to today's economy?
When I first started, 90% of the time I spent convincing people that I'm not going to send them a brick in a box because, mind you, this was the birth of e-commerce. People were afraid. You didn't have the mechanics in place to prevent from fraud. I could have easily sent somebody a brick in a box and they would have to come look for me and good luck kind of thing, right? So that was the most. So building your name, your reputation online. Of course, it was a lot easier because it was me and maybe 10 other guys that started doing this at the same time 20 years ago. Now you have thousands and thousands of websites. So now we fight it with what? We fight it with our media presence. I have a media team just as big as yours, and we've gone the route of brand name recognition. That was a decision made when we decided to go from B2B back to B2C. That's when YouTube came in. This is when Instagram came in, and content, 3 C's, creative content consistently. That's really it. That's what gets you there today. And now that people know your face and know who you are and they become fans, I think I was still working out of my house part-time. I met a client, he spent like 20 grand with me, and he was one of those marketing gurus. Of course, back then it was convention centers. You fill a room with 5,000 people and then you sell CD disc sets of 6. That was the thing back. I still have that somewhere as a memory. And he said, Roman, educate your consumer first and foremost to where they would feel stupid to buy anywhere else besides you, regardless of price within reason, right? And I've gone by that, and I swear by that. That's why my entire sales team, myself included, would educate our consumer, except it's a lot easier now. Before it used to be a one-on-one phone call. Today it's a YouTube video.
Right. And some of your videos get a ton of views, so I'm sure they lead to a lot of business.
Right now, something's up with everybody. Instagram, YouTube, the views are down across. My team is back home trying to figure it out.
Instagram, I'm down 30% this month.
Same.
YouTube, I'm down even more.
Yeah, YouTube has been down big. So now, my CMO, and then we're talking to a ton of different people to try to basically reboot the algorithm, if you will.
Yeah.
We took a break from our reality type of videos, the Gray Market show. We took a break of 2 months. Now we just launched the first episode. So long as we get that one, we know that 7 days later we'll post the next one and the next one, and hopefully that will reboot the algorithm. But you also have to consider, when we started Gray Market, we were the first to show behind the scenes of what's going on in the watch business, right? And now we have hundreds of guys that are doing the same, like anything else. How many people copied you?
A lot, yeah.
You know what I mean? But what that is it still takes away little by little.
Over time, yeah.
Over time, it will take away little by little. So we're trying to do something to reboot that. We're also coming up with some new show concepts and things like that.
You were the first, I remember, to show the dark side of business. Like, you show deals where you get scammed and stuff.
Of course. It happens every day. We have a big target on our forehead because the stuff that we sell is liquid. Some of the scams, oh my God.
Someone called back the wire, I saw.
Oh, dude, the amount of scams we've been hit with. And we've lost money over the years. We've been hit, but the cost of doing business, it's like you put yourself out there, you sell the type of product that you sell.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
What's the most clever scam that you fell for?
Guy calls us up, bargains with us, says, hey, I'm such and such. I want to buy these 2 watches. We go back and forth, and we end up on a price of, let's say, $82,000 on a watch. At the time, the market price on a watch was $85,000. We were selling it for $88,000 online, so $82,000 was a reasonable offer. We made money. And he goes to me, he's like, listen, for safety, can you send it to my job? Sure. Where do you work? I work at Bank of California. And he goes, and my address is Bank of California Tower, suite such and such. I'm a VP of whatever. And he's like, and what I'll do is I'll overnight you. I don't do wires. I'm going to overnight you a certified check. We get a check overnight in the mail from Bank of California with the same address that we're actually shipping the watch to.
Yeah.
Right? I go to my bank. I said, hey, is this check good? They're like, yeah, check's good. It's a real check. Put it in. We send the watch to Bank of California Tower, suite, whatever. And 2 or 3 weeks later, my banker calls me like, Roman, I don't know what to tell you. That check came back. What do you mean? He said it was a real check. He's like, it is a real check, but there's no money in that account. So what the hell? So then I started digging. So the Bank of California Tower is owned by Bank of California, but they only occupy like the first 3 or 4 floors. They lease out the rest. This guy rents an office in that tower, made a deal with somebody downstairs to get the blank real checks from there, like pay the guy or something.
Yeah.
$2.4 million in 3 days he stole.
No.
They caught the guy. I have a judgment against him.
Wow.
If he ever shows up somewhere and buys a house, maybe I'll get my money back. But
holy crap.
The best, though, is the 3-way scams where somebody scams somebody and then sends the money to us. So a guy puts up a car on eBay. This happened. It was a BMW M3, I think. I forget which one it was. It was like around $50,000, which is just slightly lower than market price, but a good deal. And VIN numbers nowadays, you can find them anywhere online, right? So this doctor buys this car from the guy, and he tells him, okay, where are you? The guy's like, I'm in Ohio. He's like, well, I'm in California. He's like, send me the money. I'll have the car delivered. I'm taking care of the shipping. The guy's like, well, how do I trust you? This was through eBay. How do I trust you? The guy was like, well, if you want, we can do an escrow service. Guy puts up some cockamamie escrow website. Meanwhile, he calls me and bargains on 2 watches with us for $54,000. So the guy says, okay, I'm good. He sends $54,000, but the wire directions he gets are mine, not the guy's. I get the wire for $54,000. I take the 2 watches. I ship it to the guy. The guy disappears. This guy starts looking for his money. I start looking for my watches. Of course, we see the shit coming a mile away. We look at shipping addresses. We put the 2 together. Something didn't add up. The guy bought $54,000 worth of watches, and I didn't grow up in a very good area in New York. Yeah. When I look at the address, I'm like, yo, these are the projects in the Bronx. No fucking way this guy is buying $54,000 watches. So we stop the shipment. The guy disappears. 2 weeks later, this doctor calls us. And he's like, oh, I just realized I sent you guys money for a BMW. It's like, we're a watch business. Tells me the stories. I already knew. I just was messing with him a little bit. So I'm like, doc. I'm like, what kind of doctor are you? He's some kind of an ologist. I'm like, so you went to, 46,000 years of school? It didn't dawn on you that this is fucking fraud? The messed up part about it is if I would have sent the watches out, I would still have to return the money to him.
No way.
By law. Yeah. I would be out that $54,000.
Is that a Cali law or New York?
It's not. No, it's just a general law because he sent the money to the wrong place. Even though the guy was frauded, I didn't sell him a BMW M4.
Wow.
And just because I sent the watches out to a fraudster, that's on me. So I wasn't out any money, but that was a clever scam. These 3-way scams, sometimes 4-way scams, they get pretty clever.
That is clever. My seller scam too. My boy, the very watch you're wearing, he wired $140K at the time. Never got it.
That's why I always tell people the same thing: buy the dealer, not the watch.
Yeah.
And social media, being transparent, really, really helps because people know who you are. And worst case scenario, says, guys, just come to my office, pick it up.
Yeah. It's crazy though, because even if you win a judgment, you still got to collect. So that's been pending for 5 years.
You know how many judgments I have against people? Dude, if I collect half of my judgments, I'd be very, very happy. Trust me when I've had dealers that have gone under. I think the biggest was $2.8 million.
Damn. He owed you 2.8? Jeez.
I got just under 2 out of it, but that was it.
Wow. He just went too crazy, started buying
No,
everything.
because this guy was flipping to another guy. And if you Google it, there's a news article about a big Russian dealer that was taking $250 million worth of shit. He was selling to that guy. And when that guy went under, he owed him over $3 million. So he was leveraging my credit, giving the other guy credit. He was always paying. He was always good. The guy wasn't bad. It's normal in our industry for that to happen. That's why I got away from B2B to begin with, because it's pretty dangerous. Like it's, a deal I've seen guys go under because of one single big deal. That's why when I was a smaller business, and I'd never bit off more than I can chew, because I knew potentially that could put me under, because I'm not the guy that's going to fuck somebody. I'm going to work 3 jobs to pay somebody back. I don't owe anybody a penny, never have, right? So you have to be smart about it.
Yeah. What's the closest you've gone to going under? Was there a specific moment you remember?
Yeah, it was actually based on a positive thing. I made a deal with a major manufacturer, I won't mention any names. It was a $33 million deal over 3 years on a major brand to receive packages every month.
Yeah.
That deal lasted 5 years, and it ended up being about a $65 million deal over 5 years. And it was a pure example of biting off more than I can chew. Not in the sense that I couldn't afford to pay for it, but this was in a situation where a product would come in. I would have to sell off most of it fairly quickly in order to pay the next bill next month. And that's how my B2B grew. That's how I had 30 million in receivables, right? I would extend credit, but at the same time, I didn't have the same credit on the other side. So it continually took away from other revenue streams that we had. And all it did is it constricted our cash flow. And lucky for us, and this is before any craze or hypes, lucky for us, we were able to build a big network in B2B, like worldwide, Middle East, Asia, everywhere, where we had the buyers to continuously take this stuff. If at some point, like halfway through, those buyers cooled off and I would have no way to get rid of that stuff, it could potentially put us under. So just a good example of biting off a little more than you can chew. Now, would my business go under? No, it would suffer tremendously. But still, it was post that deal is when I made the decision to say, I got through this deal. On paper, I made a fuck ton of money. Trust me when I tell you. It grew my business to the stratosphere. But I realized that it's also very dangerous.
Yeah.
And at some point, you have to do some risk assessment.
High risk, high reward, they say, right?
It is. It was high risk, high reward, but again, high risk. Right?
Yeah.
When you have a business going, it's like, if it's me out of my basement, it's one thing. But at this point, it's not just me. It's not me, my wife, and 3 kids. It's now a company of 30 people that are also my kids. I call them jokingly, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very sensitive. My company is my family. So, I know there's a group of people that depend on this company being successful, not just me.
Right. You mentioned earlier the Asia market cooled. What happened over there?
Well, you had the whole, they kind of had I guess the housing crisis we had here, but on a commercial level. So COVID hits, or pre-COVID, right? You have manufacturing was booming, right? So what ended up happening is they started building these towns that are now known as ghost towns, huge towers. The apartments in there are the size of this chair, right? But these were for all the factory workers they needed a place to live when the manufacturing started booming. And when the manufacturing booming, employees are booming. Now you need a place for them to stay. So they started building these huge towers, these 60-story towers. Which, again, the apartments are maybe 200 to 300 square foot apartments, right? And all of a sudden, you got big money that came in because they knew the demand was there. So they started. So they built one development, let's say 6, 7 towers that are 60 stories each, right? And they leverage that and then build the next one, the next one, the next one. Well, COVID hits, and then they anticipated that post-COVID, you're going to have all these people return back to work. Well, half the people were scared shitless because the government scared them into COVID in China. The COVID scare was real.
Yeah.
Right? People were scared, legitimately scared, right? And then the other half, they kind of went back to an old school way of living up in the mountains, living off the land kind of thing and things of that nature. They said, fuck it, I don't want to slave away 12 hours a day in these factories. I don't want to come back. And all of a sudden that demand goes, all the shit's leverage, and boom. And that's what they had. And then, mind you, prior to that, you got to figure China was what? They were responsible. So $60 billion luxury industry, out of which 22% was made up of watches and jewelry. And the Chinese market alone was responsible for 60% of that.
Damn.
Think about what that does globally, right, in terms of demand.
Yeah.
China was, we have an office in Hong Kong for that very reason, because we cater to mainland Chinese clients and especially B2B. When that gets shut off, it takes a hit. Hong Kong has always been a big pulse of our market kind of thing. Now you got the new rules in Hong Kong in terms of money exchange. Before, you can go to Hong Kong with $1 million in bag, and it was perfectly legal and fine. You go and you pay cash, you take your shit, and you leave. Now you have to report a lot of things. Now you have, so everybody went to crypto, which is also not exactly kosher if it comes to American companies, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that sort of led up to that, where mainland China is sort of choking on Hong Kong's way of doing things because they left them alone post-Brexit, right? So a lot of things are changing in the landscape, but it's all cyclical. Right?
Yeah.
It all goes up and down. So now you have India, which is a huge upcoming market. Of course, what's stopping them is their stupid tariffs and duties because it's impossible to sell into there. People smuggle stuff in there, right? They've been talking about changing that for the last 10 years. We'll see what happens.
What's the tariff percentage there?
Oh, dude, if you live in India and I send you something, you're paying 50%.
50%?
Yeah, it's like stupid.
Holy.
And now you got Trump doing tariffs on our end, which in the long run, I agree with. But in the short term, it affects a lot of industry, including ours. So to import watches into the United States of America, you're paying anywhere from 3 to 3.5%, depending on the watch. Now there's the temporary additional 10%.
Damn.
So now it's 13.5%. So now what happens? Now in a market on a secondary, especially when your average margins are 10 to 20%, you can imagine what that 10% does. It essentially wipes out profit. But now you have all this product floating around. So until that catches up, we're now slowly but surely starting to say to clients like, look, majority of the stock is still in Asia, but bringing it in is now 10% more expensive. So now we have to adjust. You know, it's like, hey, here's the new price. It is what it is. Now, if the tariffs go away, I want them to stabilize because it opens up to us. To me, it would be free trade because today I send some to the UK, 24%.
Wow.
And the other European country, 20 to 27%, right? But if you even out the playing field, was 10 and 10, now the World Wide Web actually becomes the World Wide Web.
Right.
But now we're not the World Wide Web.
Yeah, because if you want to grow your revenues, you're probably going to have to go more international, right? To these richer countries.
We do international, but
you do?
It's very small because, again, they have to pay crazy duties. So if I have certain deals that fit within the criteria, they do. London is, I think I look at my traffic stats, like London is probably the number 2 city people watch our shit from.
Really?
But they only buy a tiny percentage. So if they do even out the plan, I don't care if it's 10 this way, 10 this way, 20 this way, 20 this way, eventually stabilize, but it takes time. So you have to be able to weather that storm because then inadvertently sales will be down because of that. Because you still have people in the United States that have a ton of product that are still selling at old prices, but eventually it's going to run out. And if they go outside the United States, we have a beautiful hedge on that because we buy from the public. So for us, it's easier.
Yeah. You got any big whale clients in like Dubai or Saudi or?
We have, so our clientele will go from, you know, guy we're visiting tonight, old money, multi-billionaires, real estate tycoon. We have celebrities, and I don't clout chase. I never name my celebrities. I try to take pictures. Remember, we have some of the biggest celebrities that buy from us, right? And so unless they want to be on camera or give me a shout out,
you don't care for it?
It's not that I don't care for it. I feel that the reason we were able to land a lot of clients like this because I will treat a kid that comes to buy $3,000 Omega the same way as a megastar is going to buy a $3 million Richard Mille, right? Because I feel that people are all humans and you have to treat them with respect regardless of their status.
Yeah.
Now, are there people that I would fan over? Like if I saw them, like, yeah, I'm a big Formula One fan. So if like Lewis Hamilton came to my door, I'd geek the fuck out but that's personal, right? But for the most part, the clientele varies. You know, you have young kids that made millions doing something or other in technology to, you know, seasoned money or old money.
I got Leclerc coming on during Vegas F1. If you're in town, I can introduce you guys.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine, maybe you know him. He's a guy out of Singapore. His name is Jeff. He's a big collector of Formula One cars. He has some of the most important Formula One. He goes by Jeff Crypto.
I think I've seen him on Instagram, yeah.
He went to dinner with Charles when he was in Singapore.
Oh, yeah?
And we want to talk about the biggest fan of Charles Leclerc. Like, he's like God to him. Like, he's a big Ferrari guy, obviously, right? Yeah. But yeah, Jeff is like he's nuts with some of the cars. I collect Formula One cars.
Oh, you do?
Pretty decent collection.
How expensive are those?
So it depends. They get up. I know that Jeff just bought the Lewis Hamilton Superfractor auto from the rookie year 2020 for $1 million.
What?
Yeah.
Holy crap! Where do you even store all those if you start collecting those?
Dude, Singapore is one of the most safest places in the world. You can leave your car window open with your wallet and cash hanging out. Nobody will ever take it.
No way.
Singapore is.
I've heard that about Dubai too.
Dubai is extremely safe too.
You do that where you're at.
Singapore is Singapore is one of the safest places in the world. Yeah.
You're in Philly, right?
Yeah.
You do that in Philly. You're getting robbed within.
Yeah. Well, your wallet is definitely depending on where you are in Philly. Obviously, we're in the suburbs.
Yeah.
It's nice and safe. Plus, we're also allowed to carry a lot of guns in Philly.
Oh, you can?
Just like, oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Because I grew up in Jersey, and you couldn't really carry that.
Yeah, Jersey. Well, now they're changing it. Now they changed the law.
Oh yeah.
They forced them to change the law. And
I don't blame you. When you're moving around expensive stuff, you definitely need.
You know, when people ask me like, how do you have this office? My office is like Fort Knox, but I tell people, look, I don't envy the person that walks into my office.
Holy crap!
So I'm ex-military. I'm also a sharpshooter.
Wow.
You know, if you piss me off at 1,000 yards, I can probably still get you.
Damn.
But I'm also not the person that I'm into gun culture. I'm into guns. I go shooting a lot. But I'm the person that will do everything in my power to avoid ever pointing a gun at anyone because I know what it does. And I'm not the guy to say, start doing it. I'm not a cowboy when it comes to that. My kids know about gun culture. They all know how to shoot.
Nice.
And they all understand one thing, that the only ever time when you pull out a gun is when you absolutely have zero choice.
Last resort.
And your number one job is to get away from, not to put yourself in a situation where you have to pull your gun.
Yeah.
And that's what I live by. And thank God I haven't shot anybody yet. So
has someone ever targeted you?
No.
Wow.
I make it very known and visible that in my office, outside of my office, I'm well protected, that I do carry a gun. I know how to use it. I'm not afraid to use it. And, I put that message out there subliminally. I'm not the guy to be like, look at all my guns,
Because people in your space are targeted usually, right?
Of course we are. But you follow certain procedures. You follow certain things. You make sure you're insured, obviously, which we are.
Yeah.
And at the same token, you don't put yourself in situations to where there's a possibility that, somebody may want to rob you. You don't want to, if you don't want to get jacked or robbed, and the certain neighborhoods are bad, don't go there.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
I don't post where I'm at live anymore. So
I don't either. So if you look at Insta, like, I'm going to take a video here when we're done.
Yeah.
And I'm going to post it as if I just got here.
Right. I love it.
That's what I do. That's smart. Why? Yeah.
People want to flex where they're at, like at a fancy dinner. And I'm like, why would you do that?
I'll take pictures. I'll take videos. Also, I don't post a lot of food, but like I'll take a picture in the video. But if you go there, I won't be there.
Yeah.
It's just a smart way of doing it, because when you put yourself out there on social and people know your every move, that doesn't mean they have to know where you are physically.
Yeah. How good are the fakes these days? Fake watches.
Very good.
Can you tell?
Yeah. We can tell a fake from a room away.
Okay.
Especially my buyers, right? Just because we handle stuff so much. And people are like, well, how? I'm like, well, experience, right? You've had a particular watch in your hands 1,000 times over. You're going to know.
Yeah.
It's also very situational, right? Because it's like, oh, dude, I got this watch. Somebody gave it to me as a gift. It's got no box, no papers, red flag, right?
Right.
Oh, you're talking to someone. You can tell when somebody's a watch guy, right? If somebody's into cars and they start talking to me, they'll know right away I'm not a car guy. Now, ask me something about Formula One cars, I'll tell you everything you need to know.
Right.
But in like Porsches and Ferraris and all that stuff, I'm not into that stuff. I don't care for it. Therefore, when a conversation takes place with a Porsche guy, he'll know I'm not a Porsche guy. Same thing with that. But for the most part, I don't take any chances. So we have a service center that we own, and every single watch that comes to the office goes through my service center. And the head watchmaker there will open up every single watch. He'll look inside every single watch. If it's a brand spanking new Rolex and it's all looks like, oh, it's all legit, he will still check it. Because the super clones today are fucking scary.
That's what they're called, super clones?
Yeah, they're scary, dude. It gets really scary. Like, I've had a few, again, I'm at a trade show, another dealer comes up to me and sells me a watch, because it's very common to have a watch with no box, no papers. Doesn't mean it's a bad
You still buy those?
Yeah, of course. There's nothing, as long as I have recourse. So if you're a dealer and you're selling me a watch and there's an invoice, yeah, I have recourse.
Yeah.
And you can go get archive papers now, and there's plenty of ways to legitimize a watch. Rolex, you get a service card. So for me, guy comes up, is like, hey, check out this AP. I know you like this. Gives me a slightly under market price. I'm like, reasonable. I bargain with it for a couple $1,000. Then he takes it back. He's like, it's fake. Situational. I'm at a trade show. A dealer I've known for 10 years comes up and sells me this watch. And I'm like, okay, in that case scenario, I'm not expecting a fake. He was just messing with me.
Your guard is down.
But I looked at it close enough to where, with a naked eye, handling the watch, it wasn't until I really looped it closely and I looked on the inside, because it was an exhibition back. That's when I managed. I'm like, wait a minute, I see it now. And the guy goes, how good is this? I'm like, it's really good. It's scary.
Damn. Even the weight?
Weight, case. There isn't a thing or a watch part that a CNC machine can't make today, right? You can take a block of steel and you can make any Rolex that you want.
Damn.
Right? So it's like, it's a question of how much money do you invest into it and what's the purpose. Now, the stuff you see on Canal Street, people buy and sell those for the purpose of selling fake watches by telling you that you're buying a fake watch. So when you're paying $300 for a Rolex, you know you're not getting a real Rolex, right? But there are some out there that will make specific watches, and their ultimate goal is to sell it as new. That's the ones you have to be scared of,
right? Because
their goal is to actually fraud you. I'm really against counterfeits in general. I'm against people wearing counterfeits because I think it defeats the purpose. It's like being rich in Monopoly with who you're trying to impress, right? And you're lying to yourself. But at the same token, there's guys out there that will maliciously reproduce certain things for the sole reason of selling you a fake watch and making a profit because it has to make sense financially.
Yeah.
The better you make the watch, the more it's going to cost you to produce it. There's still a cost behind producing things, the box, the papers, whatever it may be. And at some point, if you're selling it as a fake, you're not selling a fake for $3,000. You guys say I might as well buy a real one, right?
Some of them cost that much these days.
Some of the super clones like Richard Meals and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Plus technologies today they're easily fixed. ChatGPT will tell you how to make a watch today. It's like it's not hard, you know.
What about people that wear a fake watch but the real one's at home in the safe? Have you heard of that?
I think it's stupid too. If you feel that you're ever in a position where you feel unsafe, that defeats the purpose. Because the idea is like, oh well, I don't want to. If I get jacked, they'll steal a fake. I'm like, well, isn't the whole purpose for you to not get jacked? Like, then how's a fake going to prevent that? Because you can get physically hurt too while you're getting jacked.
Right.
So no, I'm not a fan of that either.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, people walk Melrose and getting robbed these days, so I could see where they're coming from.
Yeah, but it's like you want to flex, but you want to be safe. You know what I mean? Like if the idea is,
I just don't wear it at all.
Yeah, for me, safety takes priority over flexing.
Yeah,
I don't care what it is. Now, I don't get it.
Certain cities, I don't bring out my watch. You know what I mean?
Europe. London is fucked.
Yeah, London.
I was just in London. I almost got robbed.
Damn.
And mind you, I'm there with a friend of mine, Paul Thorpe, another YouTuber in the watch space. You know, went got really political now, so no more watches for him, but a lot more views on YouTube. And so he took me to Hatton Gardens, which is there, 47th Street. So it's me, him, another buddy of ours, Spencer, my videographer, social media. Like 6 of us walking around.
Yeah.
And we're standing we went inside a store with a friend I knew, started talking. We come outside to look at his outside thing. And I'm like, starting to make a deal with him on a watch. All of a sudden, Paul leans over. He's like, I have that on video. It's on one of the episodes. Leans over. He's like, Roman, we got to go now. Huh, what? Some dude came, like circled us a little bit, like scouted us out.
Yeah.
Went across the street. I didn't see this. Paul did. Went across the street, pulled out his phone, started texting people. And Paul's like, we've been spotted or marked. We need to go. We need to go now. So we made an exit, and I'm like, fuck, this is London.
Yeah.
And then I'm there, a couple of young guys in the industry. They have an office in Berkeley Square. I don't know if you're familiar. That's smack in the middle of Mayfair. That's where the Ferrari dealership, the Bentley, it's like Fifth Avenue. And they sent me a DM. I was like, Roman, I see that you're in London. We're such and such. Is there any way, shape, or form we can get 20 minutes of your time? I looked the kids up. I see 2 young kids trying to do something. I'm like, sure, I was staying at the Grosvenor House. So we met downstairs at the tea lounge. We're drinking tea, talking, and they're like, Roman, give us advice. Like, what do we do? Here we are. You know, we have a decent amount of money we invested into this business, but like, we can't walk around the street wearing a watch. We can't leave our office with a watch. We can't really do a whole lot of social media because people will find us. He's like, we're also brown skinned, so people are afraid to talk to us. And I'm like, I sat there, I listened to everything, how they did business. Like, how do you do business? He's like, well, see people out and about, we see they're wearing a nice watch, we'll hand them a business card just so we are, you know, our office here and here if you ever need anything. And he's like, most of the time people will be scared when I tell them nice watch. Again, he's like, not because we're brown skinned. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And I'm a pretty smart guy when it comes to business planning and things like that. And then finally I told him, I said, I have one advice for you. And he was like, what? Like, get the fuck out of London. I mean, because I really didn't know what to tell these kids. Like, they really have no way to scale their business because of safety concerns. Yeah. So I asked him, like, can you have a security guard? No. Can you have a gun? No. Can you have he's like, I can't even have a baseball bat. I'm like, well, that's kind of fucked. You know, another buddy of mine, he moved out of London. He went all the way out to Radcliffe, I think it's called. It's about 40 minutes outside of London, a suburban neighborhood. Still build a fortress there, but it's safer over there. I don't get it.
What a shame.
It is.
London's like that now?
Yeah, London's scary, man. Scary for a minute.
That is scary. Parts of LA are like that, man.
LA? I don't go to LA.
Yeah, Melrose. You walked Melrose.
I can't stand LA for their geopolitical stance, for the way things are over there. And last time it was my 20th wedding anniversary. I made a big surprise for my wife out in. So you have, what is it? The Laguna Beach. I think is it Dania Beach or starts with a D. The little town next door. They have a Waldorf there with a golf course. Not Dania is in Florida. This is Dana Beach. I think it's Dana Point.
Heard of it.
Laguna Beach, and there's a town next door. It's a beautiful scenic place with cliffs and beautiful sunsets. And we spent a day and a half in LA prior to that. So we stayed at the Beverly Wilshire, pretty woman. And so all right, let's go do a little bit of shopping. I go to Rodeo Drive and I see guys in full tactical gear with fucking machine guns. I'm like, the fuck, am I being rude? What is going on? Like, why are these guys here with machine guns? But in London, it's worse. You walk into Louis Vuitton, when you walk out, they give you a plain bag. So you don't attract attention.
Wow.
With zero branding. And Bond Street, a buddy of mine has been on that street for 30 years. That's their Fifth Avenue.
Uh-huh.
I walk up. I was there, I wanted to surprise him. Walk up to the store. It's kind of dark in there. There's no showcases in the windows. Usually the showcase with jewelry and watches. This guy has a lot of cool stuff. So I call him like, Ronnie, I'm like, you guys closed? Wednesday afternoon. He's like, no, we're here. I'm like, doesn't fucking look like it. He's like, oh, you here, bro? I'm like, yeah. He comes outside, unlocks the doors. We'll go through 2 doors. He locks the doors behind. The lights are dim. They're sitting inside, only working on web orders, only by appointment only. I'm like, this is Bond Street. He's like, yeah. Guy got stabbed just last night, right around the corner from my office.
Jeez. Scary times. Is New York safe?
New York is safe. New York is safe. A lot. Look, America is a lot safer. And the reason America is safer because we have the right to bear arms.
Yeah.
And that's, again, depending on state, but still in general, you know that you stand a chance of either getting your ass whooped, and you have police that have guns. In London, most cops carry sticks and whistles.
Wow. That's not doing much.
You got a guy running at you with a machete. You got a stick and a whistle. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like,
man, that's nuts. Well, Roman, it's been awesome, man. What's next for you? Where can people find you?
Just my social media. Like, I'm one of the guys I told you I answer all my DMs. So Roman Sharf on my Instagram you can always get me there. And for watches, just go to the website.
Awesome.
My inventory is live.
Cool. We'll link everything below. If you need to watch, guys, DM him or check out the site. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Bray, I appreciate you having me. Finally, we got it together.
Absolutely.
Perfect timing. You text me like, oh, dude, I'll be in Vegas tomorrow.
That's the universe.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Take care, guys.